Welcome one and all to the first round for the C1 category, the pinnacle at RLH, and we're here at Bahrain like we were yesterday, around the 5.412 kilometers, 15 corners, and we're getting ready to go for qualifying. And a track that we saw a lot of overtaking yesterday, we're once again going to see the onboard lap from the Nailboy very kindly made in the RLH car, and we can see it now heading down towards turn number 1, big overtaking spot and the best chance to make your moves in the race. And we are running up towards the top of turn 4. We saw a few incidents yesterday, so hopefully we can avoid that in the C1 today, but have to see how things pan out, and can also be a sort of a better overtaking spot, and maybe some drivers can be looking to try and fight it back as they work their way into that middle sector now. And it's been a much follow the leader for this next part of the lap, and can be very, very tricky, but you never know, you can find the odd way past in that middle sector, but of course it can be very difficult. Then running up towards that very tricky turn 10, sort of the key place to make a lock up, and we've seen a lot of drivers do that. Saw a few drivers do that yesterday as well. And then coming out onto the third DRS zone, and running down towards turn 11 and 10. Coming out through and onto the back straight, heading down towards the final corner and getting our way onto the lap. And we can flick to the qualifying session itself. Oh no, my controller's disconnected. Sweet. Oh, I've lost. Can you hear me, Fretty?
Hello? Everything coming through alright for you, Ben? Or are you having some difficulty?
Yeah, I've lost. My laptop's struggling a little bit. We're still live, but
Good stuff.
I've just lost connection to the PlayStation.
Right, we'll try and keep up with things while Ben gets sorted out then. Just says, I believe, reigning champion. Not seen too much of C1 lately, but he is coming across the line, I think, to start his first final lap. But no, he's finishing it at 24.9, so it's a good first lap indeed. And Monster Blue goes in just behind on a 25.0, almost 25 perfectly flat, as Marco Bott has left the session. So that's a great start for his season. Third reserve, I believe, for C1 tonight. So Justice has then on his in-lap goes past Wallstrupper, who is on an out-lap. And the two Racing Points still in the pits, yet to set a time. I'm wondering if we'll see a lot more drivers tonight at the sharp end of the tiers, of course, using the mediums for qualifying. See, the lower categories tend to be a bit... One person will go on softs and then everyone has to follow suit. But everyone out on a lap on softs at the minute, so maybe not going that way. Prinz has got the medium set, as has Shabby.
Managed to get it all back up. So it should be.
It's very close at the top already. Sam somehow slots into a 5/100th gap between Monster Blue and a 25 flat. Saw a couple in C3 that set the exact same time as well. So once again, it's a very tight grid. You can see a couple of cars very close indeed, which bodes well for the race as the Racing Points are coming out line astern. So maybe a bit of towing going on there between Wesley and Black Mamba.
Both on the soft tyre as well. So I think, well, looking at some of those times, it'd be very impressive to set a medium time that will put you up at the front of the grid at the moment. All of the times, pretty much most of them in the mid to low 25s, and well, Justice starting this season off very strongly in qualifying. Of course, the reigning C1 champion, currently in provisional pole.
Absolutely, yeah. So Shabby's switched over to the softs, so perhaps just staying back and waiting to see what everyone else went for first. But only Prince was set with mediums at the moment. I wonder if that will then change as well. I think from memory, there's around a second deficit from qualifying on the mediums. It depends, obviously, on the quality of the drivers, but I think it's pretty much around a second. So, yeah, like you say, you'd probably be the back end of the top 10 on the mediums anyway. So it does force you into a two-stopper, though. Although some, with the aid of the safety car last night, managed to get all the way to the end on a very worn set of mediums. So it is possible, but perhaps not the quickest way to navigate this Bahrain Grand Prix. Season opener once again for RLH. As Wesley crosses the line, I think he's starting a lap. So is he towing Mamba? No, Mamba's a little bit down the road.
From what I read, or I heard it the other day, you've got to be sort of, I think, within a second to really feel the full effect of a tow on this game. So maybe not quite close enough to 2 racing points, but maybe psychologically it definitely will help out. And I think with strategy as well, you can sort of go soft to hard, I think, but of course I know a lot of drivers are not big fans of the hard tyres in it. If you commit to that one stop, you can get very vulnerable under a sort of a safety car later on. But yeah, I think people valuing track position. I was speaking to Shabby yesterday during the C3 stream. He was sort of highlighting the importance of track position, throughout the race, and I think it just puts you in that best position to adapt to anything that comes forward. But the 2 racing points just coming towards the end of the final sector.
Yeah, interesting note there about the strategy. Yesterday in C3, a couple of drivers were caught out by an early safety car that chose to start on the hards and obviously then forced to go to the mediums and take them a long way to the end. So I think it'll be interesting to see if anyone down the back does choose to start on the hards. I think the chances of the safety car are usually in the early stages of the race. So if you can go with that medium and then be able to switch to the hards, then it can work out very well indeed. We saw definitely some of the sort of lower end qualifiers benefiting massively from that last night with the safety car on, I believe, lap 9. So yeah, safety car, as always in league racing, will be critical. VSC as well. But, Wesley, not a great lap so far.
I think Black Mamba definitely invalidated, but I think Wesley backed off towards the end because he did go purple in that middle sector on the minimap for me. Currently following Marco Bota, the Romanian driver. You step into C1 sort of as a reserve quite last minute, so managed to get involved in today's race. But we will see how he gets on in the Ferrari. Quite a few drivers just come out of the pit lane, both Renaults, line astern, just behind the Ferrari we're following now. But yeah, I think as you said, it was the safety car was sort of lap 9, lap 10. It was perfect time for the guys who started on the medium tyres. And they definitely benefited from that. Marco Boto's a very good combination time of a 1:04 going purple in the middle sector, so managing to beat Wesley's time. We'll see whereabouts he can put that Ferrari. But I think this grid is definitely, I think, one of the most interesting I've seen in C1 since I've been part of RLH. I'm really looking forward to see how it all slots out as Marco Boto goes into P7. A lot of sort of former C1 champions, if I'm correct. I think Justice, Sem.
Yeah, there's at least a couple in there.
I don't think Simsy racing. I don't think he is.
Not entirely sure. I think he might have signed up somewhere. So
he's in the other McLaren.
Yeah, and we've also got a few sort of old school drivers from back in the day when we called it F1. So season 3, season 4. A couple of drivers such as Wesley, and I think Prince has been in C1 before as well. And Marco Bota in the Ferrari, of course, 7th at the moment. He's been in and out of the session already, so just reading that hopefully there's not going to be any issues getting to the grid. It has been known to happen in the past, but we cross our fingers for that. Just as in the other Ferrari's gone a little bit quicker, just lowers the bar slightly.
Yeah, so getting about a 10th quicker than he did on that his first flying lap in the session. As Sem improves by about a 10th to go in the 24s as well, but just over a 10th shy of that provisional pole time. Cotton Eye Joe goes into P12. Time over 25, 6:99.
Yeah, one thing for definite, it's good to see 19 drivers on the grid tonight. Obviously, C1 changing to a Wednesday night slot this season. A bit few issues last season with driver availability, as Sem knocks a 10th off his own time to go. Monster Blue. No, that was Sem, and just as no, Monster Blue has gone. Yeah, so Sem went second, and then Monster Blue took it straight back off him. So the times are coming down. 3 drivers now in the 24s. So 19 drivers, and it all looks to be very competitive. A lot of drivers within the same 10th of a second. So yeah, bodes well. Hopefully some nice clean racing to come. 6 minutes of qualifying remaining. So one more run for anyone if they want to move up the order.
So we've got Donkey Dan. Unfortunately, he invalidated. He was up on his time, and he comes into the pit lane. He had 10k. He was 7 tenths down on his personal best at the end of that middle sector, so he's also both alphas coming into the pit lane. But Wallström 800s up as he goes through that first sector. But I think another interesting thing was about this lineup is also the fact that it was sort of a merge of C1 and C2 from last season, but also the fact we've got Jari and Alex currently in 4th and 7th. Jari was C4 championship, so he has improved a lot over the last couple of months, and also Alex as well to jump up from last year's C3. So it'll be interesting to see how they get on in today's race. I know Jari's been very quick, and I think he won the 100% race we did a few weeks ago as well, and competing against some C1 and C2 drivers, so he's definitely capable. Deserves to be in this tier as well, especially with the time currently in 4th fastest. We'll see how the Red Bull. I think Jari just finishing on that. He's into the pit lane, so we got Wallström towards the line, 2 tenths up. He was, and he goes into P7.
Yeah, just interesting there. You're making the point about people making a big step up. Obviously, we have seen in the past drivers jumping more than one category. Shabby came from being C3 champion, I think, straight to C1 champion, actually. So it's definitely possible to make that step. And especially as in the past, there's been a little sort of bias towards driver availability on particular days rather than pure pace. It seems to have managed to balance that out a little more this season. So yeah, probably be a little more difficult for those drivers to come in and make such a big impact straight away. But yeah, definitely doing a solid job in the top 10 at the moment, Alex. And Yari is, yeah, as you say, 4th, so right up the sharp end there, just ahead of Shabby.
Oh, a late dive from Invisible into the pits as he decided to put on a new set of tyres rather than completing that lap. You've got a couple cars out on track, 2 on flying laps. Marco Boto, can he improve? I think he's going again to start a new flying lap now. And Wallström will be coming back into the pits. So just a few cars on out laps for the final runs.
Got a couple sort of going all out as well. Mamba currently on a 30.3, so he can definitely improve from that. He's gone with the mediums to go all or nothing, really. He's either going to start in the top 10 on mediums, or he's going to start with brand new tyres outside of the top 10. Wesley also wondering if he can go. I wonder if that's why he backed out earlier then. But putting a lot of pressure on the final run, and Prinz without a time looks to also be going the medium route.
Yeah, I was watching when you said Mamba was on the mediums, I literally looked straight down, and Wesley had literally just changed from the softs. So both racing points, well, yeah, going for it, trying to make that alternate strategy work. But I think to do a sub 1 minute 25.6, I mean they are very quick drivers, but I think that is still a big ask. Nevertheless, we'll see how Black Mamba is getting on his medium tyres. He comes towards the end.
He's gone out during the lull as well, so he should get a nice bit of track position. Shouldn't be any traffic issues. They'll start going out at the end of this lap, obviously. So I think he's got clear track in front of him. Try and make the most of it.
Yeah, the next car in front of him is Marco Boto, who's just about to finish his lap, and he goes into P6, the Ferrari driver. 1 minute 25.1. It's all very close. I mean, just small gains. It's all about those fine details on these qualifying laps in C1 at the moment. I mean, the field is spread out from first down to 16th by a second, and I think the 3 times at the bottom aren't quite representative at the moment. So we'll see how they improve on their flying laps. But
very wide there. I hope he didn't invalidate that. It seems to be going pretty well up to that point. But it's going to get quite congested as we come towards the line with the rest of the drivers. With 1:58 remaining, they're all going to be trying to get space for their laps. And we've got yellow flags everywhere as people are trying to get out of the way.
Mamba goes into there's 1:26.5 on those medium tyres, so he's got the chance to go again if he wants to and if he can find the pace. And I think on that, another lap on those tyres would not be ideal for him. And as you said, maybe looking to try and maybe start outside that top 10. And
yeah, I don't think he's got the fuel. He wasn't using DRS down the straight to turn 4, so it looks like that's it for Mamba. He'll be starting right down the back, unfortunately. Yep, bails out of it as well.
Well, yeah, I think was it yesterday the race winner in C3 was started outside the top 10, so it definitely is possible if you can get the strategy right and things go your way in the race. Alex 9,000's up on his lap at the moment. I think he's the first of this sort of final minute of runs. There's a lot of guys starting the laps now. If you look on the mini map on the right hand side, there's congestion all around the track, especially in that final sector at the moment.
Yeah, absolutely. Everyone's sort of spreading out, getting some space. I think they'll just about manage to all get across the line. There's still 40 seconds remaining, so yep, they can all get a nice little gap for themselves. Very spread out on the map now.
Alex has backed out, currently down in P9, but he's got time to get around and start again. Seeing how Monster Blue can do in his first sector. Can he challenge Justus for that pole position time? He's 800s up in the first sector. He's absolutely smashed that. And if he carry on that momentum, he could be looking at the provisional pole time, of course. The Ferrari driver is out on a lap now, and he's just going towards turn number 4. See what his first sector is looking like. I think he was about a 10th behind the Alpha, but improving himself nonetheless. People starting to cross the finish line, and the checkered flag is out. What's Monster Blues? He's found an even more time, 10th and a half up for the Alfa Romeo through that middle sector. The Black Mamba stays P17, Lord Elephant 16th, and Wesley 18th. Around the final corner for Monster Blue. Can he take provisional pole here in the Bahrain Grand Prix? He can. Into the first person, into the 24/7s. What can Justus do in response? Williams gets out of the way very nicely and towards the final corner. A bit of a lock-up, but gets away with it. It's Sem. Sem takes provisional pole with 24/6.
Done. Oh, he just misses out.
It's close.
Back in the 24/6s as well. I think that's it. Don't see anyone that can knock Sem off the pole.
Addy Spinu coming into the pits, it looks like. Alex has still got... Oh, he almost does a Jack Aitken into the wall there, but just about avoids it. And I think, yeah, that's qualifying over. Sem, I mean, he was always there and thereabouts, but we were focusing on the battle between Justus and Monster Blue, and Sem snatches it right at the death, a bit like it happened in C3 yesterday. But a brilliant time, a 24/6, both of the top two.
Bits of wing flying off everywhere as the AI takes over. Always good to see. So yeah, it's an all former champion front row then with Sem and Justus as. Shabby just behind in 4th as well. So Monster Blue is the sort of imposter there. I've not really seen too much of him, but definitely doing a good job getting within a 10th of pole position.
I think, off the top of my head, I think he is sort of new for this season. And it'd be interesting that freeway fight at the front, and well, Justus is he's had a very consistent pre-season. I think he's taken all the wins that I've seen. So trying to carry on that momentum, but Sem 12,000th ahead. And even as we look down sort of the back end of the top 10 and people starting outside the top 10, it all is still very, very close. Small margins here in qualifying.
It's race day and our drivers are all out on the grid performing their final checks before we get underway here at the Bahrain International Circuit. We'll be racing around 3.36 miles of the magnificent Bahrain International Circuit today. Keep an eye out for drivers locking the front left down into the tricky braking zone of turn 10.
Come back to the pit lane here in Bahrain, and the driver's just selecting tyre strategies and fuel loads for this race. And I mean, that's also something that could be quite interesting. You know, some drivers decide to under fuel, be a bit quicker at the start, then of course sort of have less rich mix available to them. And also, I think the big thing about the tyre strategies, what the people outside the top 10 decide to do with how many guys will go for the hard tyre and the mediums. Because the soft don't last too long around here. I think sort of max you can get out of them if you push them is sort of maybe 11, 12 laps if you're really pushing your luck. But that's the pit stop strategy. 2 stop at the bottom. We'll get to see what the tyre strategies are. And it's softs for all of the top 10. And then it's mediums for Donkey Dan, 10K, Adi Spinu, Invisible, Lord Elephant, Prince and Black Mamba, and then hards for Cotton Eye Joe and Wesley. So interesting decisions for those guys. So I'll run through the grid, and we got Sem on pole position, Justice P2, Monster Blue in 3rd, 2 Williams of Shabby and Jari 4th and 5th, Marco Bota in 6th, Sam Gosden in 7th, Fulstrebert 8th, TTG Alex in P9, Degarbs is P10, 2 AlphaTauris, Donkey Down in 10K in 11th and 12th. Romanian League Season 2 champion Adi Spinu is in P13, Cotton Eye Joe 14th, Invisible 15th, Lord Elephant 16th, Prince 17th, Black Mamba and Wesley are 18th and 19th. But I think it's also it's one of these starts that it's one of the longest runs down towards turn 1. It's one of the heaviest braking zones in general, and it's a start that can cause a bit of chaos. So hopefully everyone can get through unscathed. But definitely a chance to make up positions if you can. And I think if you're a soft runner, you want to try and keep all of the medium and some of the hard guys behind you, especially on these opening couple of laps, because you want to try and make best use of your softer tyres. Everyone starting to line up. Sam and Justice have got the long wait as the 2 racing points slot into the grid positions, but we're almost ready to get going for the first race of C1 here in Season 8 on RLH. Everyone slots about, looks like we've avoided any issues. We have the lights are here now with 3, 4 and 5 red lights here in Bahrain, and it's lights out and away we go. And it looks like to be a good start from Monster Blue from P3, trying to look around the outside on the grass a little bit, almost 3 wide into turn 1. As I think Justice has got the inside line actually, he got the best of the starts. There's a bit of contact from a Williams behind. Looks like everyone's getting through turn 1 relatively unscathed. Renault going around the outside of the AlphaTauri. Back up at the front. Shabby looking to go down the inside maybe of Sem, and Sem dropping back down to P3, and Shabby looks to have just about got ahead. He's going to have the high ground going into that middle sector.
Yeah, the 2 racing points got away pretty well initially, but then sort of tripped over each other through turn 2 and 3. Mamba still ahead of Wesley at the moment, racing with Invisible as well. Oh, a little bit of contact, Invisible round as well. Just about gets away with it, but he's dropped right to the back of the field. So, yeah, definite contact with Mamba through Stroll's favourite corner at turn 8.
Prince has managed to get past Adi Spinu down at turn 10. So go no DRS of course for the first 2 racing laps, and everyone just trying to pick up positions where they can. But great, I mean, as you said, not Racing Points didn't get away too well in that second phase, but managed to make up a couple positions nonetheless. Shabby making up a few positions and getting up to P2 for the start of this one. And not too far.
Donkey Dan and Prince Killer as well, racing for 12th and 13th. We've seen those two sort of wheel to wheel plenty of times in the past, and Prince is potentially going to get a run down the start finish straight as we've got cars in. Oh no, that's the leaderboard deciding what it wants to do.
It says we're on lap 3, but we're not.
It's only been 6 months since the game was released.
You know what? You would have thought it would be the easiest thing to fix.
Oh, if you don't laugh, you cry.
Yeah.
So, yeah, these are saying they're in P4, 3, 2. Donkey Dan's first now, apparently. Brilliant.
I've just sorted. Oh, Connor Joe's out. And that's proper.
Missed that. So
yeah.
he's down the back of the field anyway.
It was, what might have happened was, it looks to be just after turn 4, so maybe a bit of wheel to wheel or just losing the car.
Invisible might have a little damage, is it? We've got virtual safety car anyway. Invisible now looks to have got the front left intact. So Lord Elephant's dropped down, I believe, has he? To 17th.
Couple of places.
Down there, really.
It might be Adi Spinu he was a little bit higher, I think, on those mediums. Maybe a little incident down there, or maybe just a bit of a Vettel moment and just simply losing the car on his own. But we didn't quite see that with the confusion of the leaderboard. But now who can get the best of the restarts? You know, it can benefit a different driver, sort of depending where it ends, and it's already ended now. We've got going green racing once again. So the AlphaTauris are quite close.
Yeah, looks like everyone managed to avoid any drive-through penalties for speeding under that VSC as well, so that's good to see. No penalties given so far, so just says, yeah, leading away from Shabby once more. Shabby's had a good start, up 2 places. Sam down 2 from pole.
And DRS is now enabled as we start.
Oh, Justice has massive slide through turn 4. Lucky to keep hold of that. Shabby will grow in confidence seeing that, no doubt. He's already struggling with the rear. Little lock up in turn 8 as well.
Yeah, and I think you definitely have almost. I mean, obviously you'd rather be in front, but the driver behind does sort of have a bit of an advantage. Can save that ERS a little bit more if they're within that second, because 3 DRS zones around this track. It is a little bit easier to follow because of that. Shabby, if he can just stick within that second, it could be a real advantage for later on in this race. I sure just also want to try and break that second as quickly as he can, so using the ERS to do so. You see he's breaking the toe very aggressively already, going to the right hand side down that penultimate straight.
Yeah, no, so the VSC doesn't reset the counter for the DRS laps, so obviously Justice as losing out on a bit of time to pull away there. And yeah, Shabby very much within that 1 second window. Monster Blue setting the fastest lap, but that will have been affected by the end of the VSC, I believe. Oh, a little bit of contact with Shabby and Justice as there. I think they both got away with it, but yeah, definitely a little love tap on the right rear corner. And they're racing again down to turn 4. Shabby going to the outside.
Can you hang this?
You can race wheel to wheel through there, but it gets pretty tight on the exit.
It's just about shut the door on him, and Marco both are going wheel to wheel with Jarry. Can Jarry go around the outside as they go into that middle sector? They're still wheel to wheel. They go down to turn 8, they're still wheel to wheel, and who can get the Ferrari will have the inside, the Williams on the outside. I think just being on that outside line gave him a better exit, and Jarry slotting ahead, moving up in P5. Great move from the C4 champion to get up into 5th place. But that little battle between them has dropped them back a little bit, so Jarry now out of DRS from Monster Blue in front of him.
Yeah, absolutely. Ferrari versus Williams looks a bit of a battle already, doesn't it? We've got both of them knocking wheels on each other in just the first couple of laps. Justice has still only just 4 tenths ahead of Shabby, who's going to line him up again down into the final corner.
Prince just getting...
Look, just having a little bit of a look. Oh, Shabby was just about trying to line him up for an overtake. He's got a massive oversteer himself. Still has the DRS, but I think that's probably just cost him a chance into turn 1. He'll probably have to try turn 4 once more. But,
just see the background, the other Williams going very defensive as one Williams on the attack, one Williams on the defence. And can Marco Botta go round the outside? He's going to try it. He'll have the inside for turn 2, and he is ahead of the Williams car. Great move. And great little battle between these two for 5th place at the moment. Can Jerry come back at the Ferrari? Not quite. Just didn't have the DRS from where Marco Botta overtook him. So it's the Williams' turn to sit behind the Ferrari, just like it is out front at the moment.
Yeah, another
couple
of
lockups around. Spun it round. I think. I'm not sure if there was contact or anything, but no front wing damage at all for him, and he can get going and carry on. But of course, losing valuable time in this race.
Just says breaking the toe down the back straight. Shabby using a little bit more of the ARS so far, so Atomic would not be very happy with that. He's only got 44% at the moment to sort of mid-50s of Just Says. So, yeah, the Ferrari driver with a little bit more to defend with. But, of course... Oh, he's round! He's going to be round with that, surely! If he can hang on to that, that would be incredible. He has kept it going, but he's definitely lost the position and probably loses second to Sem as well. Yeah. So, yeah, Just Says was looking on the ragged edge, and it's finally gone bad for him. Rear tyre temperatures won't be doing much good after that either, and he's going to be under pressure for our Monster Blue for P4 as well. So Shabby leads from Sem now.
Sem, well, maybe be sniffing to get ahead of Shabby, of course. Sort of when you're in sort of that second place, Jerry trying to go around the outside, it's not quite worked, I don't think, and could be under attack from Sem Gorzen, who's got a bit of a better exit. He's also got the toe from the Ferrari in front. Can he go around the outside? And he's slotted ahead for turn 4. The other Renault had a look at Austria, but no way through just yet.
Very nearly losing it there through turn 4 this time. So yeah, plenty of...
Oh, Nebula found Amber into the wall on the exit, maybe losing the rear. I don't think he was too close to the back of anyone. It is quite easy to do through that little kink if you get on the power a bit too aggressively.
Yeah, you need to try and compromise turn 1 really to get a better run through there, because yeah, track limits are very tight over those curbs as well. But I'm not sure if he's got any damage. Yeah, right front damage from Amber then, so he's probably going to have to be in, which his strategy of going long has fallen on its head already. Yari, yeah, dropped down a couple of places. So we've got a Renault up in the top 6.
Yeah, I think that sort of the squabbling between Jari and Marco Botta was great racing, but it slowed them down, and now they've sort of formed a massive train all the way back to Adi Spinu in P14. So they did have a bit of an advantage, but running out towards turn 1, just as using his overtake. Will he look for a move on Sem? He flicks to the inside. Is he a bit later on the brakes? Just about. He's going to have that inside. But of course, maybe Sem has the best of the exits, and actually just sort of has to back out of it just to make sure he doesn't come together with the McLaren there as they ran through turn 2. And
yeah, could have done with getting out of it a bit earlier there to try and get the switch back through 2 and 3. He sort of pinched on the apex of turn 2 there as he nearly loses the back end once again. So yeah, clearly some aggressive setups out there trying to get that rotation and just sort of hang on to it, but it's proving pretty difficult on this soft tyre stint at the moment. One thing I did notice last night was the balance, for me at least, was much nicer on the mediums compared to the softs. The soft was definitely very pointy. Seemed to settle down as you got on the harder tyres. But yeah, Sem definitely not letting Shabby get away with this one. 3/10 the gap now at the front. Certainly just as tight as it was in qualifying.
Well, top 4 separated by 1.2 seconds at the moment. It's great racing, and as you know, even despite the opposition changes, they still managed to pull a 4-second gap back to Marco Botta in P5.
Yeah, absolutely. There's no conservation whatsoever going on at the moment. It's absolutely flat out. Lockups everywhere. Sideways moments on the traction. So yeah, everyone giving it everything. And Semen just says in, yeah, lap 7.
It was
just about time for an undercut.
Well, Sem, I think maybe just tried to sort of go as late as he could to sort of hide it from everyone else, and Justice did really well to actually just react, and I think he sort of wanted to do that. And they both...
Yeah, he's going to the hards. There's mediums going on a Red Bull behind.
Tyres back up. Well, that is the debate. If Hards can go to the end. I think we saw Atomic last night. Oh, and big moment for Monster Blue through turn 4. They were well to say that was drifting it around turn 4, but I think Atomic on the hards last night. I think he got a puncture very late on because he took the hards most of the race. I think after a bit of an early incident. So we have to see. I think those hard tyres should be okay to the end, but they could struggle late on. But now, I mean, Shabby and Monster Blue have got the advantage of if they were able to see what tyres they put on it. They can go the same or they can go a little bit different. But I'm sure they'll be into the pit lane this lap to try and make sure the undercut isn't as powerful as it could be.
Yeah, the question now, if it's marginal with getting the hards to the end, sort of Shabby, I think might already have been undercut if he pits this lap. It's a question now: does he try and push it a few laps further to guarantee he gets to the end with a decent performing tyre left and sort of take his advantage at the end rather than now? We'll see in a moment because he's through the final corner and he is going to be in. Monster Blue carries on though, so he's going a little bit further. Marco Bota is in as well. So the Alpha driver is the odd one out at the moment. Yari carrying on as well though. So yeah, we've got a couple. Shabby, of course, was in this lap, so Yari, his teammate in the Williams garage, had to continue on for another lap. Not quite the swift turnarounds of real life.
Just going down towards turn 1. I think Shabby will be behind both of them. He's out on the pit lane exit now. He could be just missing out on slotting out in that effective P3 position. In this
and only one lap fresher tyres as well now then, so yeah, he's right on the back of them, but not really any offset on tyres. So yeah, lost out with that undercut, just as still locking that right front. Atomic pitted for on the first lap last night, managed to take them. So yeah, in theory they will go to the end. It's just a case of what performance you get out of them.
Yeah, and I think we saw it last night in C3 as well. I think some people after a safety car pitted for the mediums and just towards the last couple of laps just absolutely just fell off the cliff, and I think Phil was catching quite a few people towards the end because of just going for that better tyre for the longevity. Now just as
the race here though. Yeah, they're stuck behind Lord Elephant, who's going long on these mediums. So this is the problem with going on this soft at the start. You end up with a little bit of traffic. They should clear him, but are they going to swap positions before they do that? Justice says he's lining up Sem into the final corner. Needs to make sure he doesn't take Lord with him.
It's the wheel-to-wheel still through there. You got Monster Blue into the pits. Now just the drag race down towards turn 1. Could have
and Sem's boxed in. Sem's boxed in behind Lord, and Justice has given him no space to let him through as well. Makes the move stick if he can get it slowed down.
Here's Shabby
sticking it around the outside. Yep, Shabby through as well. No contact though. Great racing from all four of them really. Lord on massively different tyres, of course.
Shabby's got a much better exit. He could be getting ahead of Sem. Sem effectively losing 2 places in 2 corners there. But a great battle between the provisional top 3 in this race. And Monster Blue comes out just behind Lord Elephant after he extended an extra lap from Shabby, 2 laps longer than Sem and Justice.
They're about 8 seconds behind Wesley, who will be going very long into this race if it continues under green flag. So he's on 9-lap old hards, so he might be a little bit of an issue for them. The medium-tired runners you'd expect to be in within the next sort of few laps, at least. But Wesley could be leading the race at some point and might be holding this little train up to Alpha Tauris, making their way up towards the front now on the alternate strategy, having qualified outside the top 10. Prinz leads into lap 11.
Yeah, a little freeway battle going on at the moment for P2 on track. 2 Alpha Tauris and Adi Spinu involved in that one as his position changes further back as Monster Blue quite easily gets past Lord Elephant just at that tyre delta. Towards turn 1 is Justice and Invisible going wheel to wheel with Mercedes, proving to be difficult to pass into turn 1. Shabby, of course, not too far behind, but I think now run the run down towards turn 4. Justice will be able to get through. Goes up the
Yeah, and as we
inside.
saw with Sam a moment ago, you've got to get these moves done when you can because it's so easy to get boxed in if you're waiting for the DRS. So yeah, definitely.
And speaking
And
of that,
Shabby,
Shabby
yeah,
straight
through.
past.
Yeah, definitely not shy there, was he? Coming through in the S's of turns 5, 6, and 7.
And Sem
Wants
goes
to
down the
hold
inside
on
at turn
just
8.
Yeah, Invisible really dropping away now. He's going to be behind Monster Blue as well, who is still in this race. Let's not forget about him. He's hanging on to the net top 3.
Definitely is a 4-way fight at the moment. I'm sure he will get past Invisible over the next couple of
Every
corners.
last bit of track limits there.
He's got past him at the exit though.
Yep, good move. That's job done. A little bit of a lock-up from Sem, I think, in front. Invisible runs a little bit wide.
Crucially though, Monster Blue just within that second, so he'll get the joys of DRS as 10k into the pit lane on those medium tyres. And what tyres will he be putting on? I would expect a set of hards to go to the end, and it is.
Yeah, absolutely. Shabby just having a little bit of a look at Justice. Has a little bit of contact again as well. Right at the apex, no damage, of course. Hitting it square on the middle of the nose. But in fact, probably lost a little bit from that because Justice has managed to defend even without the DRS.
Yeah,
They are coming up on Wesley now. They've closed that gap.
Oh!
Oh, Justice is off!
How on earth has he, 1, not got damage, and 2, not hit the wall?
Well, that's the second time I'm wondering that, to be honest. He's still somehow in the fight for the lead, despite having had 2 massive moments.
I mean, that was a proper shot towards the wall on the inside.
Well, I selected the wrong car, going back forward from Sem instead of back, and by the time I got back, he'd got it all mopped up, so yeah, I missed that one, unfortunately.
I was
Shabby.
following Shabby, and I just saw him shoot off in the background, or sort of in the foreground, and well, did very well.
Yeah, absolutely, very lucky once again. But yeah, Wesley now just about a second, and yeah, Monster Blue through. So that was sort of on the exit of turn 11 by the looks of things.
Maybe those tyres are a little bit heated up again, like we said earlier. The two Red Bulls swapping it around. Maybe a bit of although for not fighting that one too hard, I think just knowing that Austria was going to be a little bit quicker, but just as into the pits.
Interesting. Did he pick up damage then?
Visually, it doesn't look like it. We'll see if the Ferrari.
We've got a nose ready. Yeah,
unless
from
it's
wing
light
going on.
green or.
Yeah, didn't quite catch the wing coming off there, unfortunately, to see the damage. But he's out onto a set of mediums, which I'll tell you what, that's going to be tight. It's doable, but they're not going to be at their best by the end, by any means. Lap 13 of 29.
Yeah, I know some guys in C3 did it yesterday, and it was Marco Boto and Jarry battling once again. Jarry up into P11. Yeah, as I said earlier, the guys in C3 went for mediums. I think it was a little bit earlier, more sort of lap 9, lap 10, but definitely struggled towards the end. So we'll see how he gets on. But I would imagine
Prince
probably the
having a
quickest car on the track now.
Yeah, Prince having a very quiet race so far. Not seeing too much of him, but he is currently leading the race on lap 13. 6 seconds clear of Donkey Dan. He's 12 seconds clear of Wesley, who's on the alternate strategy to him. And he's 13 seconds clear of the leaders who are on the qualifying strategy, if you like. Is he going to be in this lap? Yes, looks that way. Pushing the line right to the limit.
He's getting very close to
Donkey Dan as
Invisible
well.
now. He's starting to get caught by people who pitted for that 2-stop. Only a few guys have gone for that 2-stop. You know, I think only 2 drivers, Walshaber and Sam Gorson. I think Invisible into the pit lane. And now probably a set of hard tyres. And whilst that was going on, Shabby's managed to get past Wesley, and now will Sem be close enough to have a go into turn 4? Not quite. Bit of a flick to the inside, but
Yeah, he's definitely letting him know he's there. But yeah, Wesley didn't put up too much of a fight, really. I think he knows that he's not really racing these guys for position today. He's going to be focused on the likes of Prince and the AlphaTauris for some solid points probably towards the end.
yeah, you never know. Maybe a late safety car, a late virtual safety car could really, play into Wesley's hands here. If it comes sort of lap 20, a set of mediums or a set of softs, if he's feeling very racy, could really benefit him. And Sem can go down the inside.
A little bit of contact. And that's put Monster Blue right on the back. He's come through at the same time, put it on the back of Sem. While we were watching all that, Tenke picked up the first penalty of the night on lap 14. That's not a bad effort, guys. 3-second penalty for multiple warnings, unfortunately. So, yeah, Sem's not going to have the DRS here, so Monster Blue might have a chance of getting into turn 1 before him.
Just has made up his first position up in a P15 ahead of the recently pitted Invisible. Yeah, Monster Blue closing, looks to the inside. He's actually going to send it late on the
very
brakes.
late one, yeah. Oh, a little bit of contact, banging wheels. They're just about both going to make it through. So yeah, it was definitely hard racing, just about fair, I think.
Got to say fair play to Sem then. Sem on the exit there, because he made sure there was room on the outside, which gave Monster Blue the much better run out of the corner. But Sem, yeah, making sure there was avoiding contact there and really ultimately losing the position. But 10K on wheel to wheel with the Garbs. The AlphaTauri's ahead of the Renault for P11.
Absolutely. Sem can sort of stick where he is now. He'll probably get a very good run back at Monster Blue on the next lap. So yeah, no need to panic just yet. A little lock up from both of them. Sem running a little wider than Monster Blue through turn 10. Just lost a little bit. He's now about 7 or 8 tenths behind him. Shabby has broken the DRS up the front. So yeah, this little battle could be very good news for the Williams driver. Completely different lines through sort of 12 and 13 there.
He wasn't particularly confident yesterday. He was, I think, last season I think he was sort of in C1 a little bit just as reserve and trying to fill up some of the numbers, but also mainly in C2. And I don't think he was too confident about sort of competing against the likes of Justice, Sten. But I mean, doing brilliantly at the moment. 1 second clear out front, but Monster Blue not far behind now and almost within that second. It's very close, fine margins, like it was in qualifying.
Yeah, absolutely. Wallström is catching Wesley and picks up a penalty, as I've said that. So, yeah, we'll go away from him because I've just cursed him. And quite a bit of a battle going actually down the midfield. Marco Bota, TTG Alex and Prince Killer, having just come out of the pits, is catching both of them. Penalty for Lord Elephant now as well. So now they're starting to come thick and fast as people eat through their 3 warnings. Prince, I think, is going to be through within the next lap. He's all over the back of the Haas.
It's a good battle. Oh, a bit of contact on, I think, on the X there between DeGarbs and 10K. So DeGarbs has got back past, or not quite got back past the AlphaTauri, but yeah, Jari leading that battle between himself, Marco Bota, Alex, and Prince. Of course, Prince does have the advantage of a couple laps fresher tyres, so maybe later on in this race he can sort of maybe have that tyre advantage and try and pick them off a little bit later on.
Yeah, Monster Blue, since getting past Sem, has actually got back into the DRS on Shabby. So he's by no means out of this race. We said he was a couple of laps ago, just in a net P4, just watching things progress ahead of him. All of a sudden, he's found himself in second place with quite a decent chance at getting past Shabby here. So,
Prince goes
yeah,
down the
might
inside.
be new to things, but definitely showing well so far.
I just said that Prince was going to pick them off a little bit later on. He's already got Alex down into turn 1. And now Marco Bota might be looking to find a way past Jari. This battle still goes on between the Williams and the Ferrari. Can Marco Bota go round the outside? They're going to go wheel to wheel through turn 4. I think the Ferrari might just have the advantage, and he does, just getting ahead of Jari there on the exit. Great move from him there.
Lord Elephant and Invisible down the back as well. Fighting for it through turns 1, 2 and 3. And it's still going on down to turn 4. This is going to get very close. Lord does have the inside line and the DRS, but Invisible won't give it up. A little bit of oversteer from Lord. Let's Invisible back in through the S's. They're going side by side. Might be down the back, but definitely just as hard racing. And Lord goes through, but he's got to pull 3 seconds out if he's going to keep that position, of course.
And back up at the front, Monster Blue within, well, half a second now of Shabby. I think that once he got into DRS, it just shows how powerful it is around this circuit with three.
Yeah, definitely. Sem's closed in as well, all within half a second of each other.
We go for a move on this lap. Yellow flag sector 2,
Yellow.
that's just us. In the wall. It doesn't have any damage again.
Yeah, staying on the side of the track for the traffic to come through. It's good to see. But yeah, pretty disastrous race for him so far. And that'll be Ty Temps gone once again. Back to the front though. We've got Monster Blue. Not quite able to make a move into turn 4, but he's definitely letting Shabby feel the pressure. Alpha is right on the ragged edge through there.
I don't know if you've got it. I don't know if you have the telemetry up. I'm just seeing on Shabby's bottom right. He's a fuel light flashed up on the telemetry board. So maybe he's running a little bit lean on the fuel. So maybe he's been doing a bit of fuel saving recently. Maybe that's why the gap came back in.
Taking a lower load and try and get away from the start. Yeah, definitely. It's quite heavy on fuel this track. Obviously, a lot of hard traction zones and long straights.
Oh, and there's contact between Jarry and Marco Boto. Marco Boto doing really well to hold the slide as Prinz is, well, got past all of them now. Within 2 laps of him being at the back. And still, Alex not too far behind, 3/10 behind Jarry. Once again, the top 3 though, looking to go onto that main straight. The ERS battle is pretty similar between them, only sort of 10% difference in any of the top 3.
Monster Blue is going to go for that late move once again. Not quite.
Auster into the pit lane on that 2-stop. Another set of fresh mediums for him.
If Shabby is a little lean on fuel, it might not be a bad idea to try a bit of the sort of MotoGP tactic. Drop to second and fight it out towards the end of the race, just so he can sit in the DRS with either standard or lean mix for a little bit. Build it back up for an attack in the last 5 laps or so. And at the moment, yeah, he's really under pressure from the 2 behind him.
Adi Spino gets past Donkey Dan just outside the points at the moment. But yeah, I'm surprised there wasn't sort of... I was kind of expecting, of course, these guys maximise absolutely everything in C1. I was almost expecting someone to be almost forced to stay at the front and people behind just save the ERS, because it can be quite powerful. Especially overtaking, and if the car in front lacks ERS, in that sort of 10% or less, they can be very vulnerable on the straight, even if they've got it deployed.
Yeah, you wonder if Sem's just sort of doing that at the moment. He's now up to sort of 10% above on the ERS to both of the cars ahead of him. Probably not too interested in making a move just yet. Quite happy for those 2 to battle it out and use each other's resources, while he just waits and sees what happens. Obviously, if they take each other out, which we hope they don't, that would be fantastic for Sem. They almost did.
Down
a little bit of contact.
Sem's got the best seat to watch all this. Shabby's got a decent enough exit. Of course, he doesn't have DRS, but Sem switched off his overtake, I think, very quickly there when he realised and going to move on Shabby wasn't really going to be simple if he was going to try it.
Yeah, but look at that straight away. They've got battling for a couple of corners, down to 30% on their ERS, and Sem with 60%. So yeah, he's more than happy just to sit and let them keep battling it out. And obviously using their tyres as well. Sem sort of trying to keep things nice and calm at the moment.
Yeah, and the fact, I mean, just having it on for one straight can lose you, easily 40%, which you've just spent the last 5 laps trying to save up. Yes, and playing it tactically quite well. Up in almost for a brief moment there was on 70%. But the battle for P5, Marco Boto, Jarry, and Alex not letting Prinz scamper off too much, as they're still all within half a second of each other.
Interesting. Just a comment on the stream there. We said earlier he was having a very quiet race. Prinz showing some great pace in P5 at the moment. He's just a couple of seconds off the Renault ahead of him. If he can clear that, who I believe is 2 stopping Sem Guzman.
Yeah, he's into the pits now.
Yeah, so yeah, that opens the road nicely for Prince. Doesn't have to get involved with that. He's 9 seconds off of Sem. If the battle keeps going up the front, Prince could be well within a chance of a podium here, which I
fresher tyres as
think
well.
was predicted before the race. I'm pretty certain I saw a Prince top 3 prediction.
He's up 13 places already in this race. He started down in P17, I think just in front of the two racing points.
Yeah, so he's the first of the runners to start on the mediums, isn't he? He went along, having started on the mediums outside the top 10. 3 ahead of him all started in the top 4 on the grid with soft tyres. So yeah, he's got that 6-lap advantage that he was able to go longer in the first stint. As we got yellows.
Ooh, Mercedes and Invisible Lord Elephant. Looks like he's not quite come off. Whoever was going for the move. Lord Elephant slowed down the straight bit Invisible into the gravel. We'll get going. I'm not sure if he's got any damage. I think there was a bit of carbon fibre about. Doesn't seem to be on the Mercedes. Maybe Lord Elephant got a little bit of damage on that front wing. Let's see as he goes through turn. Oh yeah, he's got missing the events of the power slides out of turn 8. Yeah,
Monster Blue trying to use it, pretty much all of his ERS down to 20% at the moment to try and break that 1 second barrier. But yeah, if you look at Sem, he's almost got a full tank on him at the moment. 80% as he goes into turn 1. So yeah, with double the ERS levels of those ahead of him. Almost 4 times what Monster Blue's got. So Sem just setting himself up for the final few laps. Prinz doing a very decent job. But yeah, Marco Bota, who also started on the softs, so yeah, older tyres than Prinz, is doing a pretty good job of sticking with him, as is Yeri and Alex, to be fair. So 4-way battle for P4. Plenty going on in this race, definitely not short of things to keep an eye on.
Yeah, Prinz is also, his great pace is pulling along Marco Bota, Jerry and Alex, and sort of meaning that the battle just behind them for P8, you know, haven't really got much of a chance to sort of make inroads on them. The Lord Elephant into the pits with that damage he picked up. Also keeping one eye on Sem Gorzen, just put on a set of fresh softs, but looking back at the front, Monster Blues managed to get a second ahead of Shabby.
Yeah, so we've got that top 3 battle still sort of raging on. 4-way battle for P4 to 7, and also 3-way battle for the final couple of points paying positions as well. So at the moment, someone's going to miss out there. It's Donkey Dan as it stands, although there are a couple of penalties to factor in as well.
And Sem now using some of that ERS he's saved up. Shabby goes to the inside. Can he go around the outside at turn 1?
A little bit of contact. Sem does not need to be picking up damage now. He's put all this effort into preparing himself for the final few laps, and yeah, it would be a disaster if he was to pick up front wing damage when he doesn't really need to be racing Shabby yet. Lap 23 of 29, plenty of time for it to come. Definitely with Shabby dropping out of that DRS from Monster Blue as well, makes things a little easier for Sem when he gets around to making the move. I think it's definitely a matter of when, not if, with just 20% ERS left in the Williams.
Yeah, I think even with Sem having to go into turn 1, he's still 80 as they run out of turn 10, and Sem Golden already making up a position. He goes purple in that middle sector, first sector. But well, yeah, also with that battle for P8, the final points per position, you got Sem Golden rapid on a set of fresh softs. You got Wesley also on relatively new mediums. So those guys on the hards have got to keep one eye behind them for the last few laps.
Yeah, the charge of Prinz has sort of faded a little, probably as the sort of initial grip of that hard tyre wears down to more of a plateau towards its mid-range. As Sem, once again, Shabby goes defensive. Sem's still not interested in going for that inside line. He's going to run it deep around the outside. Again, a little bit of contact.
Just going to have the inside. Oh, a bit more contact. That was a thump.
Yeah, just about made it through. Interesting that Sem had no interest whatsoever in going for the inside. It seemed the easier of the two options, but he was rather keen to stick it on the racing line out there.
And the other Sem Gorzen gets past Wesley, but they've already reeled in a second to Donkey down on that last lap. So I think it's probably another question of when rather than if Sam Gawson can catch the hard runners in front of him.
Yeah, so he could be looking for some decent points actually, with a couple of cars having penalties ahead, and yeah, just within a second of a couple of the cars around 10th and 11th as well. Yeah, so he's definitely got a chance of making up some places.
I think
So at
P8.
the front, it's 1.8 now. Monster Blue, despite
yes.
having used more ERS, he's made the break for it. It's definitely now or never, because yeah, Sam starting to use a bit more to close in, but if he doesn't get within that DRS range, he might struggle.
Monster Blue, I've just had a look on the website. This is his third race start. Previously racing in C2.5 at the end of, I think that was the end of season 6. So
Yeah, absolutely.
Bit of a break for him, but
Interesting.
great. I mean, great return to RLH as Shabby had a go at Sem into turn 1 there. And that's just going to slow down the charge of the McLaren even more. Let's look at his ERS now. He's lost about 35%.
Yeah, interesting that he obviously they've dropped out of the DRS to Monster Blue, and yeah, as we said, it's so effective that if you drop out of it, you start to struggle, and yeah, he's had to use some of that ERS to compensate for the lack of the rear wing flap. But yeah, 2.5 now, so I'm starting to struggle. He was looking the strongest of the three not so long ago, and that's just how quickly it can all change around. Prin's now 8.2, 8.1 seconds behind Shabby, so it's coming down, but not quick enough. With just 5 laps remaining, Donkey Dan picks up a penalty, which may harm his chances of getting points.
Trying to go around the outside of the Garbs, but no way through there, and this is just allowing Sam Gawson to close. And he had to think about going down the inside at turn 10. I think the Garbs sort of read that one before it happened. That was all caused by Adi Spinner and the Garbs going wheel to wheel, and Donkey Dan trying to pick up some of the pieces from that battle, but no way through just there.
Renault sandwich at the moment. If he doesn't get past the Garbs, then he may be under pressure from the other yellow car behind him.
I think that the difficulty now for Sam Gawson is he's going into a battle which is running a bit of like a DRS slipstream train, where everyone in front is going to have pretty similar top speeds. He's got to try and make those softs
pretty punchy. Be better on traction, of course. And Donkey Dan taking every little gap he can find. Hopefully, the two Renaults come together. Yeah, just squeezed back towards the racing line. Probably trying to get the switch back, but unfortunately, Rennie's teammate clean out of room. I'm not sure if they're communicating or not, but yeah, a little lack of it there.
Yeah, that seemed like a bit more of an easy move into turn 4. Sam Gawson, so yeah, De Gar was trying to line up as Donkey Dan goes very wide just before turn 8, using all of that curb, so maybe picking up another warning. But I guess he can now. He's got his penalty.
Keeping an eye on things up the front. Monster Blue starting to sort of get back towards some levels of the energy recovery system. Still with that 2.7 advantage and 2-lap fresher tyres, so he's looking pretty comfortable at the moment. Hopefully no issues till the end of the race, but Shabby again lining up Sem.
Yeah, the advantage for Monster Blue, he came in that 2 laps later than Sem, and we said it could make a little bit of difference later on, and that might be what we're seeing now. So maybe Sem just sort of maybe 6-7% higher on the tyre wear. It's just costing him that pace, and without DRS he's just unable to really close in. As Wesley gets ahead of the Garbs, Adi Spinu looking for a move on 10k. Oh, and Donkey Dan, bit of contact with Adi Spinu. Sam Gawson gets a bit of a poor exit. Might try and go down the inside, but Donkey Dan looks very quick in a straight line. Holds on, sends one maybe to this inside of Adi Spinu. But they remain in the order they were in. With Wesley now closing in P12.
Yeah, just 7/10 now between Shabby and Sam once again. So they were a little bit closer than that even at the start of the lap.
Oh, Donkey Dan, massive moment, and Sam Gawson had to put the brakes on. to avoid that, and Wesley's now right behind them. So it's
Yeah,
now
Wesley
turning-
looking good on those mediums. Definitely looking like he could make up a few positions with just a few laps remaining.
Yeah, it's all very close with Wolsterberg getting involved in the battle too in P14. Of course, has a penalty at the moment.
Yeah, Wesley possibility of taking home a couple of minor points in what's been a pretty disastrous opening race for the Racing Point team. Didn't have much luck at Bahrain in 2020 F1 either, to be fair.
So he goes and wait for a move. Oh, and I think he might have been hit there as well. He sort of started to spin, and now he's in the wall. Doesn't have damage somehow, but I don't know how the battle is carrying on.
Lost the track, basically. Oh, he's retired.
Wesley goes down the inside. Wesley getting 2 positions there. Or actually, he was defending and attacking there and gets P11 ahead of the Garbs.
3.4 up the front. I think that's done. Just a lap and a half remaining.
Yeah, even if Monster Blue picks up maybe a third warning, he should still be safe by a couple of tenths. So
Battle now on for second place then.
Yellow flag in sector 2. The other Renault into the barriers, but no damage.
It's been a disaster. It's almost like 2019 for the Renault team. Two sort of disasters right on the last, almost the last lap.
One after the other, pretty much. I remember, but Shabby just a little bit far back, and that fuel light flashing a little bit more.
Using absolutely everything he's got, down to 5% ERS there as he comes into the
race.
final lap. Yeah, what can Shabby do? It's down to under half a second. His last sort of real chance is going to be into turn 4. He can get a bit punchy later in the lap if he wants, but this is his best one, and he's not close enough.
So it's going to be a really good exit.
Yeah, turn 11 or the final corner pretty much are his only chances now.
He's had the personal best in the first sector, so he is really pushing. As Wolsterberg managed to get ahead of Wesley at turn 1.
A little bit sideways for Sam. Could just give Shabby a sniff of it.
There's a battle going on for P5 as well. Jerry getting close to Marco Bota, but just coming into that final sector now. I think it's safe to say Monster Blue, great drive. Kept with that top 4 battle, and just sort of managed to get ahead and use the ERS to full effect to build a gap, and has just run away with things out front, as Sam has had to keep one eye behind on Shabby.
Yeah, went that couple of laps longer, definitely worked for him.
He comes around the final corner to take the first win in C1 in Season 8. And what a return to RLH for him. Sem will cross the line in P2. I'm very happy with that. And Shabby in third rounds out the podium. And Prinz, great drive to get P4 after starting in P17.
Yeah, just 6 seconds off the podium in the end. So, Yari couldn't quite get past Marco Bota in the final corner either. We've got Wolsterberg and Donkey down, both with penalties. So I think Wesley will pick up the final point. Oh, and almost contact over the line between the 2 Red Bull teams.
Wesley does pick up that final point. The Garbs will be 13th, but I think Justice will take P13 instead. And then just a few more cars invisible close to the back of Blackman. We could see a move late on for some of these points, places outside the points. Not quite.
Could be a party chat as well, so there's a lot of pride at stake here. As they come across the line, it's going to be Black Mamba heading invisible and Lord Elephant to complete the finishes. Reserved tonight. Yeah, solid job, I think, but a little bit of damage at one point. So that closes out the order. There's 2 non-finishers, not a bad result to get 17 of them to the flag.
No safety car either, just one VSC.
So yeah, driver of the day apparently going to Prinz Killer. Yeah, don't see any problem with that. Some good progress through the field on that sort of outside of the top 10 strategy.
Yeah, made up loads of places, and then I think did well actually, just to hold off from that sort of 3-car battle behind him that were all within DRS range of him for for sort of that second half of the race. But Monster Blue, great drive, and well, I think any of these top three could have easily deserved this spot. And I think at half race distance we weren't quite sure which of these top three were going to be taking the top step, but sort of in a little bit of a class of their own as they're a little bit further ahead than some of the midpoint finishers.
Yeah, spare a thought for Justice as well, who leaves the session now. Right up there. I'm sure he'll be back in contention for plenty of wins this season. But yeah, pretty poor start to his season.
He was very good in Australia.
Yeah, on to Australia next week. Yeah.
We did a pre-season race there, and he, well, dominated. I think that's the only word for it. So hopefully he'll be looking to try and reignite what he did there next week. But a very good race tonight in the C1, and I think for how quickly they're going, the ability to battle wheel to wheel was very good to see, and hopefully we have some more action in Australia's not sort of as known for overtaking. Hopefully though we can see some more great racing action. I think strategy as well could be quite important next week too. But I mean, thank you very much for joining me in the commentary box, and I think we should be on sort of this season, shouldn't we? Together as much as we can for the C1.
Yep, managed to free up Wednesday for most of the season, so yeah, hopefully get a bit of partnership going. Be nice to see.
Yeah, and also trying. I mean, I didn't go very well at the start, but trying sort of the new stream format should be quite interesting to see how that all sort of plays out.
Yeah, definitely just worth a note on that. Yeah, a lot of work going into the product on YouTube and streaming platforms this season. Definitely taking a step forward in that, and yeah, some great work from Ben so far as well. Hopefully, we're developing that further still in the next few weeks. So yeah, stay tuned for that. Definitely seeing a few viewing figures going up as well. So nice to see that everyone appreciates the hard work that people are going to, and yeah, hopefully carry on with racing as good as that for the rest of the season, because yeah, it was bloody tight for a first race.
Well, if you fancy some more racing, I think it's just going to be me tomorrow. I've been lucky enough to be joined by two people for today and yesterday, but I think it might be me for C5, and well, another great grid lined up. Some sort of big names in RLH, I think you could say, called Bog Racing in C5s. After reserving yesterday in C3, and
I thought you said big names.
Ooh.
That'll just wind him up.
I should be still watching.
Maybe still watching. Yeah.
Yeah. C5 and C6 tomorrow, so make sure to watch that if you're still watching on. But I think we'll end that there.